Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Concerned Citizens Media again. I got some news to share with you, plus some videos. So let's start by reading the news for today. Here are the news for December 10, 2020. The Tigray Liberation Front (TPLF) claim about the involvement of Eritrea in the domestic conflict of Ethiopia is confirmed by United States statement on the situation. The United States statement claimed that there is some credible evidence showing the involvement of the Eritrean government forces in the Tigray conflict with the central government of Ethiopia. Both Eritrea and the Ethiopian authorities denied about this serious accusation. There are also various reports indicating the involvement of Eritrean soldiers in looting Tigrayan properties from hospitals, hotels, schools, factories, government offices, and on the excessive use of force against residents in Mekelle and other cities and towns. So Eritreans are in Tigray. That was TPLF keep telling us. Now the international community is waking up to the situation. So it may not be too late to intervene and stop the bloodshed. The war still didn't over yet, but even though the Ethiopian government claimed the war is over, but by all indication, the war is still going on. It may continue for a long time. The Oromo students attending universities in Mekelle, Gondar, Bahir Dar, and in other regions strongly warn the newly assigned Oromo students to these universities to avoid attending them. These senior Oromo students said they suffered a lot while attending these universities. They said that local residents and their fellow classmates repeatedly abused them physically and verbally. Some of their fellow Oromo classmates lost their life in this antagonistic environment. They said that there is no one to defend the Oromo students in these institutions. No one is get punished for all the crimes committed against the Oromo students. No accountability in this government institution in these regions. Until friendly environment and accountability is surely established in these out of Oromia regions universities, these senior students advise and warn fellow Oromo students to remain in the universities available in Oromia region. They should reject the higher education assignments for out of regions for the sake of their safety. So we know this one, students throwing off the windows, the killings, all kind of abuses happen in Mekelle and other universities. So even though the government say there is a protection for these newly assigned students, there is no protection, none. Even the officials in these universities didn't show any action to protect the students. All are, even the security presence in the universities, there is no guarantee. So the country is in bad shape now, plus this ongoing war. So it's better for Oromo students to stay in Oromia universities. Oromo Federalist Congress released a statement on upcoming election in Ethiopia. The statement said that Oromo Federalist Congress is interested to participate in the upcoming election as it has been doing peacefully in the previous election. However, the party statement said that the Abiy Ahmed administration has closed several Oromo Federalist Congress offices in various parts of Oromia region and arrested their senior political figures and thousands of their local officers and their members. The government must change its course against Oromo Federalist Congress and allow all their offices to be opened and all its senior political figures, local officials and their members be released before the election is conducted. The statement also asked the Abiy Ahmed administration to create a friendly environment for their political party to campaign without fear. Credit OMN, United Oromo or Kadiro Elamu, and plus other news outlets. Russia to establish Navy base in Sudan for at least 25 years. Russia has signed an agreement with Sudan to establish a Navy base in the African nation for at least a quarter century, part of Moscow's effort to expand its global reach. The deal, published Tuesday on the official portal of government documents, allows Russia to simultaneously keep up to 4 Navy ships, including nuclear-powered ones, in Port Sudan on the Red Sea. The agreement lasts for 25 years and could be automatically extended for 10-year period if none of the parties object to it. The document stated that the Russian Navy base should help strengthen peace and stability in the region and is not directed to any third parties. In exchange for Sudan's permission to set up the base, Russia will provide Sudan with weapons and military equipment. So that is next door to Ethiopia. It could be a challenge if Russia provided all kind of weapons, military equipment to Sudan. It could change the balance of power in the region. Plus the situation we have with the hydro dam and the Egypt movement. So this is a challenging with this new signed deal. The social media giant Facebook is facing serious challenges. The United States government says in groundbreaking lawsuit that Facebook must be broken up. Dozens of states and the federal government sued Facebook on Wednesday in twin antitrust lawsuits, alleging that the social media giant has abused its dominance in the digital marketplace and engaged in anti-competitive behavior. More than 40 attorneys from different states uh, more than 40 attorney generals from different states signed on to Wednesday's complaint. The Federal Trade Commission, FTC, meanwhile, has been conducting its own antitrust investigation of Facebook since June 2019. Facebook acquired Instagram in 2012 for $1 billion and WhatsApp for $19 billion in 2014. So, if the court agrees with these claims, it could be the death sentence for Facebook operations and a big loss for millions of its users. And such kind of lawsuit crushed the Standard Oil Company, biggest and dominant refinery company in the world at the time, and founded by John D. Rockefeller. Its existence ended in 1991, I think in 1911. No, it's not 1991, it's 1911, when the US Supreme Court ruled in a landmark case that the Standard Oil was an illegal monopoly. So Facebook is facing the similar situation. That is 1911. So the Standard Oil Company, in 1911, sued in a similar situation, and the Supreme Court agreed with the lawsuit. Then Standard Oil crashed, split into different companies. That is its end. So Facebook is in a similar situation, because you got like Instagram, WhatsApp, maybe other companies may be included. So the attempt of this lawsuit is to break up Facebook, so that others can compete with it, and in the meantime open to the customers. That is the plan. So if the court agree with them, it could be it's very challenging for Facebook to continue its dominance in social media. Okay, that's the reading for the news. The credit for this one is CNN, CNBC plus Wikipedia.org. So this is a serious news we have to follow. Pay attention what's going on in coming months here. Now we will go to our video. So first we start with United Nations briefing on Ethiopia. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Okay, this is Antonio Guterres, the United Nations General Secretary, talking about Ethiopia. Let's listen to him, then I will go to the other video.
At the present moment, you ladies and gentlemen of the press are particularly concerned with Ethiopia. Indeed, in our discussions today, we highlighted the importance of a peaceful Ethiopia for the prosperity of its people and the Horn of Africa region. And I reiterate the full support of the United Nations to the African Union initiative and the work of the three envoys mandated by President Ramaphosa as chair of the African Union. Our immediate priority is the well-being of the people of Tigray and ensuring those in need urgently receive humanitarian assistance. And we are mobilizing for that purpose the full capacities of the United Nations. Once again, I wish to insist on unfettered access of humanitarian assistance, the swift resumption of the rule of law in a secure environment and in full respect for human rights, paving the way for a true and lasting reconciliation. And together with our African Union partner and others in the region, we stand ready to provide full support to Ethiopian-led initiatives to encourage inclusive dialogue and foster reconciliation. In conclusion, I want to reaffirm our strong commitment of the African Union and the United Nations to keep working closely together to support peace, security, sustainable development, and human rights across the continent. And I thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We'll now take questions. Edie Lederer, Associated Press.
Thank you very much, Mr. President and Mr. Secretary General. On behalf of the United Nations Correspondents Association, for doing this hybrid briefing. We appreciate it and we hope you'll do more. Mr. President, does the African Union really have no power to intervene in Tigray, even as Ethiopia shoots at UN staffers, atrocities are feared, and people in Tigray are beginning to starve? And Mr. Secretary General and Mr. President, on access to vaccines. The floodgates to COVID-19 vaccines are opening in rich countries, yet Africa might not begin to see vaccines until the second quarter of 2021, according to the head of the Africa Centers for Disease Control. After all the lip service by rich countries about equitable access to vaccine, can this glaring inequality be quickly addressed and distribution to Africa and other developing countries be speeded up? Thank you.
Monsieur le Président, si vous voulez répondre en premier, je donnerai ensuite la parole au secrétaire général.
Merci beaucoup. Je voudrais réaffirmer les principes de l'Union africaine qui croit fortement au principe de la résolution pacifique des conflits. Où qu'il se passe, quand il se passe. Ce qui se passe dans la région du Tigré en Éthiopie doit également être traité comme tel. L'Union africaine, à travers son président en exercice, a désigné 3 envoyés qui sont venus s'entretenir avec les autorités éthiopiennes. Nous croyons à une solution pacifique par le dialogue qui respecte
There's a French.
constitutionnel.
Sorry, I thought he's going to talk in English, but he's talking in French about Ethiopia. If they can intervene or something. I don't know. I hope somebody can speak in English what he's saying.
L'Éthiopie a exprimé sa position sur la question. Le plus urgent aujourd'hui, et je suis d'accord avec M. le secrétaire général, c'est l'accès humanitaire. Il y a des populations civiles qui sont impactées par ces événements, il faut les protéger, il faut les secourir. Celles qui sont dans le pays et même celles qui ont été obligées de traverser. Donc, l'Union africaine a la possibilité, conformément à ses textes et à sa pratique, de traiter ce genre de questions et c'est ce qu'elle est en train de faire. Pour ce qui concerne les vaccins, je voudrais souligner l'étroite coopération que nous entretenons entre les Nations Unies et l'Union africaine à travers l'OMS et Africa CDC. Dès le départ, nous avons travaillé ensemble. Je voudrais également remercier le secrétaire général de son engagement extrêmement fort sur l'accessibilité aux vaccins. Il faut d'abord que des moyens soient disponibilisés pour acheter ces vaccins parce qu'ils ne sont pas gratuits. Dans le cadre du COVAX, on nous a promis à peu près 20% de la demande africaine. Mais il faut vacciner au moins 60% de la population, ce qui est le minimum pour atteindre peut-être une immunité collective. Deuxièmement, il faut que les vaccins soient disponibles. Il ne faut pas que ceux qui ont les moyens monopolisent les vaccins qui sont disponibles. Donc, il faut un traitement, il faut que l'Afrique soit également comprise par ceux qui vont bénéficier dès les premiers instants de ces vaccins. Le troisième défi est celui qui est particulièrement accentué en Afrique, c'est les questions de logistique et de conservation. Voilà, donc nous avons travaillé aussi bien avec les Nations Unies que les autres partenaires sur la question du vaccin. Nous avons mis en place une équipe spécialisée qui travaille avec CDC et qui fait le plaidoyer pour pouvoir avoir la disponibilité de ces vaccins et de mettre à la disposition des populations africaines. Merci.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Secretary General.
It's true, we are seeing vaccine nationalism moving with full speed. And the only way to guarantee to the African continent the vaccines that the African continent needs, and we all need, because if Africa is not properly supported, we will not be able to fight the pandemic anywhere effectively. The only way is, of course, to make sure that the COVAX initiative that has gathered a large number of countries, but all the specialized institutions from the World Health Organization to Gavi to CEPI and to all the others, to make sure that the COVAX is financed, getting in the next 2 months the 4.2 million US dollars it needs, and then the additional funding that is necessary afterwards, to make sure that vaccines approved by the World Health Organization can be distributed in Africa sooner rather than later. It is my hope that we'll be able to do it before the second quarter, but it is true that what we are seeing today is an enormous effort by several countries in order to ensure vaccines for their own populations. And until now, it has not been fully met the requirement of COVAX in relation to the financing that is needed. But COVAX is working hard. There are several vaccines in the pipeline for COVAX, and it is perfectly possible to deliver if the financing is guaranteed.
Thank you. Sylvia and then James.
Le Président, il y a de fortes dissensions au sein de la force G5 Sahel, ce qui perturbe fortement la lutte contre les terroristes. Est-ce que vous pouvez nous en dire un peu plus? Au Mali, quelles sont les relations entre les nouvelles autorités et la mission? Est-ce que la mission peut continuer à travailler? Merci.
Monsieur le Président, à vous la parole.
Okay, that's enough. I thought the briefing was the briefing is on English, but it's a mix English and French. It could be the president, this African Union president, maybe he don't speak English for some reason. He's speaking in French. They're asking him in French. I apologize for that one. They're talking about a little bit about Ethiopia and vaccination, COVID-19 vaccination for Africa. There is a concern it might not reach Africa very soon. So that's enough for French. Now let's see the other video. Okay. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Apologize, I'm still looking for my video. Okay, let's see.
Santa arrives this Saturday at Santa's Wonderland at Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Enjoy the magic of Christmas. I recommend Nature Made vitamins because I trust their quality. They were the first to be verified by USP, an independent.
Okay, here we go.
Let's dive into this latest newscast with all that we are getting in on the Ethiopian crisis, which has been going on for months, and now the United States has claimed that Eritrean soldiers have crossed into Ethiopia to help Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed's government battle the rebellious Tigray forces. This was first reported by a U.S. government source. These statements were also backed by 5 other regional diplomats. Talking exclusively to Reuters, the sources claim that both nations have joined hands to fight the common enemy, which are Tigrayan leaders. Both Ethiopia and Eritrea have denied these claims. Let's go back a few years for more context. In 2018, Abiy and Eritrea's president signed a peace pact ending 2 decades of hostilities, after which they regard the Tigray People's Liberation Front as a mutual foe. Coming back to the present, local report suggests that thousands of Eritrean troops have joined the conflict during the last month of fighting. The Tigrayan forces have also admitted to rocketing the Eritrean capital, Asmara. Now, these sources have presented solid evidence to back their claims. Evidence of Eritrean involvement cited in the U.S. view of the month-long war includes satellite images, intercepted communications, and anecdotal reports from Tigray region. A U.S. government source has also confirmed Washington's growing consensus, which went unreported, matches accounts by some residents, refugees, and even TPLF leaders. So the big question is, has Eritrea entered Ethiopia to assist the Ethiopian troops? The US government source said, and I'm quoting here, there doesn't appear to be a doubt anymore. It's being discussed by US officials on calls that the Eritreans are in Tigray, but they are not saying it publicly. Now, the latest allegations come after a UN security team's attempt to visit a camp for those displaced in the fighting. Sources say that the team reportedly encountered uniformed Eritrean troops during an incident in which they were shot at and detained. Reports suggest that refugees crossing into Sudan have made similar claims, but the confirmation has been complicated by the lack of access for outsiders, including media, and the communication shutdown to the region. Ethiopian officials, on the other hand, have accused the TPLF of manufacturing fake Eritrean uniforms to bolster their claims and increase pressure on the government to accept international mediation. The TPLF denies these allegations. For more details, let's quickly go across to our WION correspondent Coletta Banjo, who was joining us live from Addis Ababa with more details. Coletta, thank you for joining our broadcast. Now, Washington views Ethiopia as a major ally in the volatile Horn of Africa, but accuses Eritrea of severe rights abuses. So, will the latest reports now prove to be a policy predicament for the United States?
Well, at the moment, we know that there are all these allegations of Eritrea being part of the war. The Ethiopian government saying no, they're not really part of the war in terms of the military aspect. But we saw the Prime Minister thanking Eritrea for being a brother in this struggle, for being good neighbors. But I think what's the major concern right now is now we are seeing a tussle between the United Nations and the Ethiopian government, where the UN has said that their officials were shot at when they went for an assessment in the Tigray region. The government admits and says that's because it was part of a kind of negligence on the part of the United Nations staff that refused to stop at 2 checkpoints. And also we've seen the government trying again, reiterating that Ethiopia is a sovereign state, and it cannot give the UN or any other party unfettered access into any region. So this is the tussle now, and with the tussle now, we still have issues of humanitarian issues. More than 100,000 Eritrean refugees in the Tigray region needing help, and also other civilians, and also on the other side, more than 40,000 Ethiopians in Sudan needing help. So despite the fact that there's a push and pull accusations of Eritrea being part of the war, the government refusing, but the humanitarian aspect is what is now standing out more.
Right, Coletta. Having said that, we cannot deny that these reports are also being backed in terms of claims being made by US diplomats. Do also run us through Ethiopia-Eritrea ties, which are believed to be mostly icy till at least Prime Minister Abiy took office in 2018.
Well, what we know for sure is that Ethiopia and Eritrea, both governments are stronger now, and because of Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed having reached out to Eritrea and given, the hand of peace when he came into power in 2018. So the relationship between President Isaias Afwerki and Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed is strong at the moment, and that works against the TPLF that is located in the Tigray region, because we know the Tigray region borders the Eritrean side, so they're kind of in the middle, so that we've got Addis Ababa on this side, trying to push them, and Eritrea on the other side. So in terms of peace between the two governments, at government level, they consider themselves friends. Now the enemy, we can say the common enemy now we have is the TPLF, which works against them. The United States has also talked about Eritrea having been involved in this. Eritrea has refused, Ethiopia has refused. So it's a matter of somebody's words against the other.
Right. Having said that, Ethiopian officials have accused the TPLF of manufacturing fake Eritrean uniforms to bolster their claims and increase pressure on the government to accept international mediation. This, of course, is a claim that the TPLF has denied. Is it even possible to verify such claims since communication is down?
It's hard. It's tough to verify the claims because, we don't have that, direct access to both parties, both warring factions. So we've got the government speaking out about this much earlier in November when the conflict, or when it launched an offensive against the TPLF, and said that TPLF actually they were manufacturing their own military uniform, which was supposed to work for them. But on the other side, TPLF has refused. And now we've seen Eritrea saying that they do not have any forces inside Ethiopia. So it's hard to verify the claims in a situation whereby information, we don't have access, media does not have much access. Now we know the UN doesn't have much access. We are hearing just what the government is saying and maybe what the TPLF says. Verifying is really, really a problem because access to information is a challenge.
Access to information remains a huge hurdle. Thank you so much, Coletta, for bringing us all those precious inputs. Considering the communication lines are down, you're bringing us all those details for quite a few.
Okay, that's the Indian WION TV. So okay, as I said, it is challenging to verify anything about that region because the phone communication is still down, the internet is still down, the water, the electricity purposely put off to take advantage of the situation because the only thing to avoid accountability is by shutting off all these communications. So we don't know all the situation, how many died, how many injured, and if Eritrea involved or not. The light is coming out slowly because of some satellite or some other communication. But other than that, Abiy Ahmed is secured everything to avoid responsibility in the future about this war. He practiced such a system in Oromo region. He is applying that one again in the Tigray region, shutting down the international community so that information will not be shared and accountability will be avoided. Okay, the last video for tonight is the
There's a place you can go where each gift is inspired, so you can finish your list with no shipping required. To guarantee your gifts are on time this December, this is the place to
Advertisement, I
spend
can
less and
avoid it,
gift better.
but this
TJ Maxx,
videos
Marshalls, and Home Goods.
about the news I read
By using its vast troves
about
of data
Facebook.
and money, Facebook has squashed or hindered what the company perceived as potential threats. They've reduced choices for consumers. They stifled innovation, and they degraded privacy protections for millions of Americans. In an effort to maintain its market dominance in social networking, Facebook has employed a buy or bury strategy to impede competing services. First, Facebook used vast amounts of money to acquire smaller rivals and potential rivals before they could threaten the company's dominance. And I'll say billions were thrown at smaller companies in an effort to get them to sell. The two most glaring examples of this unlawful scheme were Instagram and WhatsApp. Facebook bought Instagram for $1 billion in 2012, when the company did not even have a cent in revenue. And in 2014, Facebook paid the extravagant amount of $19 billion for WhatsApp, which was far more than industry experts and even Facebook itself valued the company. The second and just as harmful anti-competitive strategy Facebook utilized was suffocating and squashing third-party developers that were invited to utilize Facebook's platform. Facebook would try to squeeze every bit of oxygen out of the room for smaller companies that refused to be bought. Facebook used an open-first, close-later strategy to stop competitive threats, where it would first open its platform to apps created by third-party developers. This increased functionality on the site and subsequently increased the number of users on Facebook. And then Facebook abruptly cut off apps it viewed as a competitive threat. Some of these companies experienced almost overnight drop-off in user engagement and downloads, and their growth stalled. They also sent a clear message to the industry. Don't step on Facebook's turf. Or, as one industry executive put it, you will face the wrath of Mark, referring to Facebook founder, CEO, chairman, and controlling shareholder, Mark Zuckerberg. This combination has allowed Facebook to maintain its monopoly over the social networking market and make billions from advertising. And today, more than half of all American adults log on to Facebook every day. New Yorkers throughout our state and consumers across this nation use Facebook to stay in touch with friends and family. They share content and have conversations. They post pictures and videos. And with the ongoing pandemic, many use Facebook as a critical place for social engagement. But while consumers have been spending their time keeping in touch on Facebook, Facebook has been spending its time surveilling users' personal information, profiting from it. No company should have this much unchecked power over our personal information and our social interactions. And that's why we are taking action today and standing up for the millions of consumers and many small businesses that have been harmed by Facebook's illegal behavior. And so we are asking the court to halt Facebook's anti-competitive conduct and block the company from continuing this behavior in the future, as well as provide any additional relief it determines is appropriate. By restoring competition, our lawsuit will help consumers have alternatives to Facebook and that they can vote with their feet when Facebook puts profits ahead of consumers' welfare and privacy. I'd like to thank the 47 other attorneys general that has joined this lawsuit, and almost every state in this nation has joined this bipartisan lawsuit because Facebook's efforts to dominate the market were as illegal as they were harmful. I'd also like to thank our colleagues and friends at the Federal Trade Commission for their collaboration. The FTC filed their own lawsuit against Facebook today as well, and we look forward to collaborating with them in the litigation process. As I've said before, we cannot let large corporations gain more and more power over our lives through anti-competitive practices that only serve their interest and undermine the competitive spirit of our nation and the spirit of our economy and cause harm to consumers. This action is part of a renewed focus by my office and other state attorney generals on antitrust enforcement and the harms caused to consumers and the economy when market power is unchecked and unregulated. Today, we are sending a clear and a strong message to Facebook and every other company that any efforts to stifle competition and hurt small businesses, reduce innovation and creativity, or cut privacy protections will be met with the full force of our offices. Again, I want to thank Chief Deputy Attorney General for Economic Justice Chris D'Angelo and Antitrust Bureau Chief Eleanor Hoffman, as well as Assistant Attorney General Johanna Skripzik and Assistant Attorney General Zach Bezons, who were the lead attorneys on this matter. They were joined by a dedicated team of attorneys and legal assistants and economists and analysts, and including Assistant Attorney General Beatrice Marquez, Assistant Attorney General James Yoon, Assistant Attorney General Amber Wes Els Yang, and Legal Assistant Arlene Leventhal, all of the Antitrust Bureau under Eleanor's supervision, as well as Assistant Attorney General Hannah Beck, Assistant Attorney General Nathania Koss-Lin, Legal Assistant Shirley Wong, and Internet and Technology Analyst Joe Graham.
That's New York Attorney General Letitia James, as there's this announcement about the states and the FTC jointly filing suit against Facebook. Shares are at session lows, down just about 3%, as you might expect. That has the NASDAQ at session lows as well. It's now down almost 2%.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.
Okay, that's the challenge Facebook is facing. So it's a very, very tough claim presented by New York Attorney General plus other 46 Attorney Generals from different states. It is a very tough lawsuit, but it depends the court. As I said on my reading the news, if the court agree with these claims, it could be the end of Facebook. As I said, it is in a similar situation. In 1911, the Standard Oil Company was the biggest company, the biggest refinery producing oil, and a similar lawsuits brought against it, illegal monopoly, antitrust, anti-competitive behavior. That's the Facebook is accused of now. So it's a very tough one, and we will follow it, and I will report on it when what the court says about this lawsuit. So this is a very challenging. Yes, Facebook is a dominant figure in a social media. Millions use it, and yes, it bought Instagram, WhatsApp. I think companies buy each other. I don't know the big deal, but we will see how the court react to this, and we'll report to you. So that's all I have for you from Concerned Citizens Media. Thank you for listening, and if you wanna comment, share, ask questions, you can just do it under my video. If you have credible news, you can share it with me. I can present it to the others. I can share with others. So it's open. Again, thank you for your time. Be safe, and see you next round. Bye bye.